Alright, welcome back to the bench, everybody. Here's a little update video on the Bergara 6.5 Creedmoor B14 HMR precision rifle that I was unhappy with in the first video, but not really, just kind of unhappy at the marketing techniques. Update to a few things that I've done to it to make it more enjoyable to shoot, more comfortable to shoot, and therefore more accurate to shoot. I do have some groups to update this this saga with, but before we get to those, I just want to do a little overview of the rifle as it sits right now and how I shot these groups yesterday. Sneak peek, I did not use my suppressor for these groups that I shot yesterday because I don't think I want to run the suppressor on this for a couple of reasons. And we'll get into those when we are talking about it. But just to update everybody, I have a rugged 3-port QD for the suppressor muzzle brake on it. So I can attach that and unscrew it and all that stuff super quick. That's what I have. Further down, I got a UTG 360 Recon TL blah 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 Amazon $70 bipod, middle of the road. I'm finding it to be very high quality and a very good I'll say good quality, very robust, but for the price, an extreme value. I'm finding this to be an extreme value. If I paid $400 for this, I would not be nearly as over the moon as I am about it. But for $70, pretty over the moon about it. Continuing down the rifle here, you'll notice Trigger Tech diamond trigger. It's not in the box as the Bergara trigger, because the Trigger Tech diamond trigger is in the gun. And wow, you want to talk about a life-changing experience shooting this rifle. Yeah, the Trigger Tech diamond trigger, it really transformed this whole gun. It really took this thing from being a, from something that I felt was it is a really high quality firearm. And it's very well made and very well put together. I had some gripes with it. I had some gripes with their marketing for it, but I didn't know, and I'm not saying that the Bergara stock trigger is bad, but I didn't know how good a really good trigger is, and my God, it is so good. Okay. The firearm is clear. As you see, no magazine, no bolts coming out. Oh, so crisp, no creep, so light. Like, it is surprising. I shoot every other gun that I own now. It's I feel like I'm really cavemaning the trigger. Just like, you gotta really tow a cinder block through the sand. This thing is amazing. I highly recommend, if anybody does anything to their precision rifle, if you haven't focused on a trigger, you should really focus on a good trigger. You can get by with the Harris bipod. You can get by with $500 scope for the time being, but my God, the trigger, I think, is the best performance I've gotten out of this rifle to date. 100% best money I ever spent so far. Trigger Tech diamond in there. Same scope, nothing changed there. Same base, same rings, nothing's changed there. KRG stock, I talked about it last time. Excellent. That plus the sandbag that I got and the bipod have made this a rock solid, super sturdy platform. I mean, 100% doing way better. Now, to go back to why I'm not running a suppressor, for me it comes down to recoil. I know a lot of people say suppressors reduce recoil and they make your gun more accurate, blah blah blah. You got to figure out that just the point of impact shift or whatever. As far as point of impact shift, I haven't seen a crazy amount with it on and with it off. I haven't seen an insane change in impact, except for in some groups that I'll talk about in a minute. But the recoil is the main reason that I don't think I'm going to run this on this gun very often, at least shooting groups. I can get by shooting steel at long range. That's fine. Honestly though, I'm still probably going to leave it off because the recoil with the 3-port brake, and this is just a QD suppressor brake. This isn't even like an optimized big honker brake that eliminates recoil. This thing still does an amazing job at mitigating recoil, versus when this can is on. It's definitely much more noticeable. I wouldn't say it's like a sharp recoil, but it's a push, and it's a lot more of a push than the brake. So it jumps a little bit more when I have the can on there, which in turn just kind of makes my follow-up shots and really just looking at the target a lot harder to, it's a lot harder to stay on target when I'm shooting through this. So I am foregoing for the next set of testing I want to do with the Bergers. I think I'm going to forego the suppressor just to get even baseline and just make it comfortable, and as you'll find out soon, no hiccups or mishaps or baffle strikes. So let's get into the groups. Okay. Welcome to the groups here. Alright. Grab my pointing stick. So, a few caveats to these groups. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These top 5 boxes here are all 5-shot groups. Along with number 9 here is also a 5-shot group. But these I'm just testing Sierra Match King 140s over here, Sierra Match King 142s over here. Again, Sierra Match King 142s, but these ones are loaded a little bit longer for my 20,000s to the lands jump. Whereas, like mag length, I'm just putting that as the book spec, 2.800 inches for what the book loads are loaded to. So I did some mag lengths and then some ones where I find where the ogive touches the lands, and then I back them off 20,000ths. So, and I did the same thing for the Berger 140s. I did mag length and 20,000ths jump. So, starting down here on the left, we got the Sierra Match King 140s. Now I have loaded, this is what I started loading for my 6.5. Originally when I first got the rifle and I first started getting into reloading and, trying to be precise and stuff. So, just for shits and giggles, I loaded some of these because I know that they shoot well, fairly well out of my rifle. And no surprise here, we got a .875 MOA group, which is sub MOA. Like my last video was, I was angry. I was like, oh, you can choose any 3 that are sub MOA. So, 5's not that much better than 3. It's definitely not 20 shots, but technically, sub MOA 5-shot group. Moving to the right here, we got the 142 Sierra Match Kings. These are a little bit longer. And on the box they say requires 8-inch twist or faster, so 1 1/8 twist or faster twist to stabilize them. My barrel's 1 1/8 twist, so it should stabilize these just fine. I just wanted to see if maybe there's a big difference in the 2 grains. I didn't really see a difference for most of these groups. The 142s at mag length gave me a .87 MOA group as well. A little bit better when I did the 20,000s jump on them, though. I got a .75 MOA group, but, again, 5-shot groups, nothing to write home about, really. Now we're moving over to the Bergers, which performed the best I found. Now, my first caveat is this group right here. I shot all of these groups up until now suppressed. And this was the first shot out of it, out of my gun. And then the following 4 shots landed all over here. And I thought, well, that kind of sucks. I spent a lot of money on those bullets. And I already hate that I have a giant flyer. And because I was shooting these, I was very well comfortable behind the gun. I was making good trigger pulls. I got that brand new trigger tech in there, so I was really loving being able to crisply break that trigger. Right, the crosshair's not moving at all. Feel really good behind the gun. So I was a little disappointed in this group because I know I shot this one. I did my shooting on this group was very good. I remember that because it translates into the next group that I shot, which is a half MOA group, a .48 actually. And these are the Berger 140s loaded with 20 thousandths jump to the lance, so optimized for my rifle specifically, optimized. I find I have really good results at 20 thousandths jump with most of the bullets that I put through this thing. So I got a .48 group, but you will notice that the point of impact is very low and very to the right. And this was I was stoked with the group, but I was bummed with the point of impact shift. And at first I was like, oh, maybe it's just these bullets, and I'm gonna have to adjust my zero on my rifle to shoot these bullets. Okay, so I thought I was gonna have to shift my zero for these bullets. And then I decided, I was like, okay, well, I'll just verify that it's a point of impact shift. And I shot another group of the Sierra Match King 142s. Not that group, but these ones right here. I shot this group and was horrified because my point of aim was this target up here. So I knew something was wrong. I thought my scope was broken, really, because my zero was shifting. I was like, what the heck? Ah, my zero. Give me 1 second, battery's dying. So, of course, I immediately jumped to conclusions that my scope was broken, and because I was on a public range, the next cold range, I went out, took down my targets because I was just like, God dang it, it's not worth shooting groups with a broken scope because that's not good. So I went out, took down my targets, got everything packed up, all that I could. You're not allowed to touch your firearms during cold range. And then hot range came on, went to take my rifle down, and noticed as soon as I grabbed the suppressor, it was just like, it had just a little bit of jiggle, and I was like, oh no. And of course, take it off, and I looked down the barrel, and I could see just like tiny little flakes of copper, and I was like, that was baffle striking. So that's my caveat for these groups right here, because that point of impact was real good. And I think what happened is the thermo, because I had shot 5, 10, 15, this is number 16. I'm sure that the can thermally expanded open, but it was a pretty cold day on the range, so the can was warm, but the muzzle device was cooling faster, or the adapter was cooling faster and the barrel was cooling faster than the can was. And so I think it just loosened up just a smidge and started blasting gas. I don't think these were touching the baffles, is the thing. I don't think these were actually touching the baffles, and I don't think these were touching the baffles. I just think that the bullets were getting closer to one side of the baffles, so you had an unequal pressure pushing on the tail of the bullet to slightly change their impact. And then by the time I got down here, I'm not exactly sure if those ones were physically touching the baffles. As far as I can tell, looking down into the can, there's no damage to the baffles that I could see. There's a little key. It looks like a keyhole, but that's just for gas to pass through. That's built into it. So the suppressor is undamaged, but because of that, I don't think I will be. That's the other reason why I don't think I will be using the suppressor for grouping with that rifle. Into the near future, I might go back on that and try it out and see if I can get better dispersion once I figure out a solid load for this gun. And just to remember, all of this, I'm fire forming brass. So, you know, for some people, I don't even know if you'd accept this as, you know, the most accurate that it could be, because I haven't even fire formed the brass yet. So now all the brass has been fire formed. So I'm going to continue testing with the Bergers because I've been seeing excellent half-inch groups out of them so far. So that was the first day of shooting groups. I just got back from a little range trip with a buddy of mine yesterday where we drove out into Idaho and filmed, so that way I wasn't filming at a public range feeling like a absolute jackass. It was just me and my buddy being jackasses together. So, and also I shot, none of these groups that I'm going to show you after this were shot with a suppressor on. Everything before this, shot with a suppressor. Everything after this, shot without a suppressor. You be the judge if there's really anything that changed. But different day and much stronger wind conditions than the previous set of groups. This is the Berger 140s with 20 thousandths jump. This is 9 shots. 9 shots. 0.79 MOA, 9 shots. Yeah, I'm stoked. I think I found the load that I'm going to pursue with this gun, for now at least, because 9 shots and a .79 MOA, and I mean I had a crosswind of like 10 miles an hour, 12 miles an hour, gusty winds, you know, so it was changing constantly, but I mean it put them all right there, and I do believe in my heart of hearts, if there was zero wind, they'd all be in one little ragged hole. But for now, I'm going to accept this. 0.79 MOA out of a 9-shot group. You know, of course I already wasted one of the 10th shot of that somewhere else, not on this paper. And then I decided to give the 5-shot group another chance with the mag length Bergers, because I believe that the first one got messed up because of a baffle issue, suppressor issue, whatever. And it gave me pretty good results. 0.92 inch group, which is sub MOA, which is nice. But only for a 5-shot group. I wasn't super impressed with them at the mag length. So I think, well, of course I will definitely be throwing the optimal jump on those that I found. So I shot that 5-round group. And I felt really comfortable. I felt really comfortable for this group, and I felt equally as comfortable for this group. The 2 flyers, I'm not sure if I want to attribute that to the wind conditions, or, you know, because that's vertical. This one is horizontal, which is really nice. As far as, you know, everything stacked up in a 1/2 inch in the vertical, which means that the velocities were great. This one started stringing vertically, which could have been me getting a little too comfortable behind the gun and maybe falling into a bad habit or something, but I'm gonna say that those 3 is really good, but you know, that's I call that acceptable. And then the group to the left here, it's the same load as the Berger, as this one over here. These are mag length. This is a 10-shot group, but I wasn't shooting really for group on this guy. I was doing chronograph. I was shooting through a chronograph. So I was focusing on 2 things at once, you know, which is trying to be accurate, but also making sure that the chronograph is functioning properly and I'm getting the data that I wanted, which I did. I collected all 10 shots of that and a verified, looks like, okay, here's that 10-shot group on the phone there. Going 2652, it was like 34 degrees out that day. ES at 34, standard deviation at 12, which for some folks is unacceptable. For me, that's pretty good. I think I would, I do want to do some factory testing through a chronograph, because I don't think the factory stuff, SDs and ESs, are going to be really any crazy much better than that. I think most everything is, that's within an acceptable range for me. I'm sure it's not acceptable for some of you, but that's acceptable for me. But that's 40.5 grains of H4350, but that's out of my gun. That's out of brand new Lapua brass. Like I said before, everything is fire formed now, so I think I'm gonna make a little video on how I'm gonna prepare these 100 casings for their next load, and probably gonna load these. If you guys want, I think I want to load all of them with the Bergers, but if you guys want to see me try out, I do still have some Sierras 142s and some Sierra 140s, and I could always go pick up some ELD-Ms. If that's something that you're interested in, leave a comment, let me know. If not, I might just change my entire idea of what I'm going to do with them in the next 5 to 10 minutes or hours or days or weeks. So I will see you guys on the next one. Like and subscribe. I'm hopefully going to be posting more regularly, trying to get into the routine here. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.